to the fabulous Las Vegas Rotary Club. Our club continues to make a difference by teaching youth to succeed through literacy, education, and life skills development. My name is Michael Gordon, and I'm proud to serve as the 95th president of the greatest Rotary Club in the world. Sidra Kane will open our meeting today with her invocation.
Thank you. As we gather here today as members of Rotary, we pray that we are ever mindful of opportunities to render our service to fellow citizens and to our community. Keeping in mind always the enduring values of life, exerting our efforts in those areas and of those things upon which future generations can build with confidence. So let us continue to strive to make a better world. Amen.
Thank you. And to lead us in song is past President Ginger Anderson.
I promise I won't sing the whole song for a small donation to the foundation. Please join me in God Bless America. God bless America. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Our Sergeant at Arms today is Rosalie Hedrick. Rosalie, are you ready to jump into service?
I am.
Okay, so we are doing things a little differently today. So we are starting with our introduction of guests. So any guests, please raise your hands.
Hello, can you hear me? Okay. Hello, fellow Rotarians. My guest today is the fabulous David Cherkis. He is our photographer at Treasure Island, and he shot the 95th party. And I love it so much, he wanted to tell you more about the club. Thank you, Jamie.
I'm Ted, here to introduce Ed Johnson, who found us online. He's an entrepreneur's entrepreneur and currently is in the house renting business. He has several properties, and he's looking at all of us to see if he'd like to associate his effort to help the community through Rotary. Thank you.
Thank you, Ted.
More guests?
Who's guest?
No, not you. Not you. You're not a guest.
Oh,
You're a visiting Rotarian. No.
Okay.
I'm not visiting, but I am here with my wife Harriet, who is a big Springs Preserve booster. So,
Thank
welcome,
you.
Harriet. More guests?
Are you visiting? Oh, you can do it at the same time. Okay, I think that's it, right, for visiting guests. Do we have visiting Rotarians?
Okay, visiting Rotarians.
Hi, I'm Tom Martin, Las Vegas Southwest Rotary, meeting again at Lowry's this week, and my wife, Donna.
Welcome.
I'm Lena Weber. I'm from Antelope Valley, California. I have a second home here, and I'm part of the guest cultural exchange hosting.
Nope, not you. Not you.
Ben Johnson, Indianapolis, Indiana, and I have Cindy with me, and we're here for a conference.
Perfect. I was born there.
Welcome.
Anybody else?
More visiting Rotarians. Right here with a scarf. Adrian Cox.
There we go. Now you let me talk because my mouth is full. You're so darn kind, President Michael. I'm from the Las Vegas Southwest Club. I am coordinating the group cultural exchange that is both outbound, to India and currently inbound here in District 5300. So without further ado, I would like our team to be introduced, and to accomplish that, I am going to ask my friend AJ Agrawal to do just that.
So before he does that, we have a whole system here. So I would like to introduce AJ. I actually have some notes here. So AJ, whose Rotary journey started when he joined Rotaract in 1988. He was Rotaract President of the Year in 88-90. He joined Rotary and was the youngest president of the Rotary Club of Rukela Midtown in 2005-2006. He then formed a new club, the Rotary Club of Rukela Royal, and served as its president in 2014-2015, and currently serves as the assistant governor for District 3261.
Thank you, Michael. Good evening, friends in Rotary. Greetings from District 3261. I am Rotarian Ajay Agarwal. I am the Group Cultural Exchange leader from District 3261. I have a young and a beautiful team with me. I would like to introduce them to you. And my first team member is Montek Singh Hora. Neha Ramani. Anmol Srivastav. And Avleen Chawla. Thank you so much.
That's it for all?
Nope. So any other visiting Rotarians? Okay, then let's move on to international visiting Rotarians. So
we're very pleased to have our Japanese guest, international guest. He doesn't speak English, so he wrote me a thing. He said, "Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, my name is Yoshinori Koami. I'm a member of the Hiratsuka West Rotary Club. I'm sorry my English is terrible, but I do my best. Firstly, congratulations on your 95th anniversary, and thank you for accepting our demands to such a long history. I would be happy if you exchanged the banner. I appreciate your kind operation. Thank you, and this is when we're going to exchange our banner. Right here is yours.
And then we have another returning international visitor.
Come on, you got to say something.
Come on, Murray.
Okay, well, first, I got some good feelings after last night's game with the Golden Knights that really makes me happy. But
I'm sad I got to go home Saturday, and it still has lots of snow where my home is in Calgary. I'm the past president of the Rotary Club of Calgary South in District 5360, but I'm ecstatic always to come here. It just feels like the same club. Thanks.
And then you're going to go to Florida, and then you're going to come back.
Yeah, I got to go to Florida for 5 days, and then I got to go on a cruise too for a week, and then I might get back here. Thanks.
Wow.
This is why we have Murray here.
Yeah, we want Murray's life, right, for all that travel. So finally, I would like to introduce my guest at the head table, Bob Brenton, who moved to Las Vegas in 1948. He graduated from Park Elementary School and graduated from Nevada Southern University, which is now known as UNLV. He was in the second class that graduated from Nevada Southern University in their business college. He worked in underground utilities until 1976, and then he started speculating on desert land. Why would you do that? There's no land here. There's no desert. And then he finally joined Rotary in 1985, and he is happily married and has a son and several grandkids. Please join me in welcoming all our visiting Rotarians and kids.
Wait.
Oh, and then one extra.
You forgot me.
Sorry.
Not very nice. Anyway, I have my friend Anna over here, I brought her last week, and now she's joining our club. And I also have two other guests. I have Don and Sarah Rudderman right there. And Don is running for the state senate, by the way.
Nice.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. And now, Rosalie, don't sit down yet. It is the first Thursday of the month, so we do have our birthday table. So if you could give the microphone to our birthday Rotarians to introduce themselves and tell us about their time in Rotary.
Okay, I'll start since it's my birthday, April 24th. I've been in Rotary a little over 4 years, and I love this club, and I'm so happy to be a part of it. Thank you very much.
It is my birthday, April the 18th, and I have been a member of this club, I would say, 20 years. I was born in 1902. I look good for my age, don't I? But anyway, I'm happy to be here, and I love every single one of you. You guys are such an inspiration, and it's wonderful to be here. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Marie Walsh, and my birthday was April the 9th, and I was 78 years old. I'm happy to say that. And I'm very happy to be here, and I'm very happy to have another birthday. And I love the children. I work with the children for 6.5 years, and it is my whole life. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Eric Astromecki. I believe I've been in the club now 2 years. Holy smokes. Yeah. 27 years old. So got a few years to go. I've been a Rotary 2 years and had the pleasure serving all through our 25 club, Secretary, VP, President on up. So now I have the pleasure here this year to serve on the board of directors. So Rotary has been an amazing learning experience for me, and I can't wait to see as the years progress and what it's going to look like when I have 20 plus years under the belt. So look forward to more.
You may think I sat at the birthday table by mistake, but actually, since Craig Miller and I are so bad about showing up here, I thought since I was here today, I should exercise Craig Miller's proxy and thank you for
service above self,
his
right?
birthday.
Hi, everybody. I'm Blake Myers. It is not my birthday this month. I was asked to sit at the table so that I could increase the average age of the people assembled.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm David Thorson, immediate past president of the club. I'm also serving as the assistant governor in District 5300 this year. Been in the club since 2009, and easily you folks are the best organization I've ever been a member of. So thank you very much for accepting me.
Kirk Holmes, April 19th will be my birthday. I will be 36. 2.5 years member of this club, and by far one of the top 3 things I've ever done in my life.
Perfect.
Thank you. And then we got to raise some money for our $2 million. And so if you could take the microphone over here to Steve Kwan, who's not sitting at the birthday table.
Uh-oh, big trouble.
So you may use the time, sir, because it's going to cost you $95.
Well, Bob need me here and speaking to a Korean visitor, but he's Japanese. So he made a mistake. But that's why I'm sitting here. Anyway, I'm joined this club 1996, so 22 years ago. I'm enjoyed it very much. Thank you.
Thank you,
Happy
Steve.
birthday.
And then, Steve, you got to go take the picture. Then I'm going to take the microphone
Oh, okay.
to Ted McAdam to lead us in our birthday song.
If you are a birthday person, stand up, please. Up, 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 up. Everybody. Oh, that is so pretty. Please stand up so we can honor you. Not you and not you. All right, here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Rotarians. Happy birthday to you.
Okay.
Thank you, Ted. And Rosalie, we're going to keep the party going. So
Okay, perfect.
Is Anil Melnick here? Anil? Do you want to give us feedback on what happened last Thursday night and how our party turned out?
I just want to thank everyone who attended our 95th anniversary party. It was a great success. So we had a full room and some wonderful guests. And it was all made possible through the hard work of and help of everyone on the committee, Carolyn Sparks, Janice Lenke, Jamie Goldsmith, and anyone else. If I'm forgetting anyone else, I apologize, but I do appreciate everyone's help, and it was a wonderful evening.
Thank you. Thanks for putting it together and hitting that up. Next up, so that was last Thursday, we're going to go to Tuesday morning, if you could take it to Marie Walsh to give us feedback on our Breakfast with Books, our final Breakfast with Books of this year.
Thank you, Michael. I'm sure all of you have received the email about Breakfast with Books for last Tuesday. It was incredible as always. And before I give you the totals again, I just want to thank everyone in this room who has come and been a part of Breakfast with Books. It is the most amazing thing you will ever see. And these are our totals. The children in attendance were 180. The adults were 84, for a grand total of 264 in attendance, which was wonderful. And the most important thing was that 70 children out of these children read 700 books in 1 month. That is the most amazing thing, and we are really making a difference at Beckley. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Anything else?
And then we had our networking event 2 weeks ago. So if past President Randy Donald, are you here? Who wants to give an update on that? Rosalie, do you want to say?
Certainly, I can do that. Okay, so we had probably about 20 people, maybe a little more, at Randy Donald's house for a nice networking evening. We had a social time prior to that. Then we gathered around a table, and all of us exchanged our business cards or whatever collateral material that we had with us about what we do in our business. And then each person got to stand and talk a little bit about what you do and what your expertise is in your line of business. We also did a really neat, fun, ice-breaking event prior to that, which kind of got us to know a little bit more about each other personally. And actually, it was really great. For me, what I took away was there was 3 people at the table that I didn't really know what they did in their business. And it's something that I could refer my clients to in commercial real estate. So I took away a lot from that because I don't get the opportunity to talk with everybody in the room all the time. And that was a perfect setting to do that in a small venue. So if Randy or anyone else does it again in the future, I recommend that you get involved and do it because it's a lot of fun. And it's a great way to get to know your partners.
Sure. Thank you, Randy, in absentia, for heading that up. Next up, I'm going to call to the front Principal Shannon Brown to give us her monthly update on what's going on with Beckley. We heard a little bit from Marie, but what else are we missing?
Well, as you guys heard, this was one of the most successful Breakfast with Books that we have had this entire school year. And again, that cannot happen without you guys. So thank you so much. It is truly making a difference with all of our students. We do have a couple upcoming events that I would love to share, and if any of you are interested in volunteering, we have our annual field day coming up on April 26th. It is happening all day long. Anytime that you can spare, you can stand out there and hose kids down with water because they're going to be running around and playing all kinds of games, and it's absolutely phenomenal. Currently, we are starting our big state testing that is going to be happening from this week all the way up through the end of May. So positive vibes, send them our way. All these kiddos need the most support that they can get to help them meet state requirements. Those are all the big things we've got going on at Beckley. Again, I cannot thank you guys enough. I run around telling everybody what an amazing club we have here and how Beckley completely is enamored with all of the support that you provide us. So come out to Breakfast with Books. We love seeing your faces. The kids love seeing you there. And again, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for your leadership, Shannon. So to support schools like that, we need to raise some money. So I'm going to call to the front Chris Bennett, who had an innovative idea that we launched this year. And we're going to award some money, and then our club is going to make some money, or has made some money. And Chris will tell us all about that.
Fantastic. This is the first year that we've done the fantasy football draft. We raised almost $1,300 just for having a night of fun at my house and everyone drafting teams. And I thought it would be a good idea to do a bracket challenge this year that I sort of threw together the last week, but I think we ended up raising, what did we raise? Maybe $1,200, or do you have any idea? Oh, perfect. We raised $675 for the foundation, really just by going online and setting up a bracket challenge at the last moment. So we'll try to make this an annual tradition. It raised a lot of money for a good cause. And so anyway, I'd like to present the checks. This year's winner. Let's see, is Tina Bishop. Is she here? Oh, thank you so much, Michael. Sean stapled them together, so yeah, congratulations. Wonderful. Thanks for playing. She wins $472.50. All right. That's yep. Second place, Matt Nelson. Is he here? He's not, and he actually tied for third place too, so that's good for him. And Tom Lloyd tied for third place if he's here. And he is not here. Yeah, we'll spend his money at a casino. Anyway, thank you so much for your participation in both the sporting events, and we'll make it a tradition and keep raising money for the foundation.
Thank you, Chris, for doing that. And then Rosalie, if you could take the microphone to Kirk Holmes right there, who has an important community announcement.
Try to make this brief and not lose it. Fellow Rotarians, One of the reasons why I joined our club was because of the support and passion we have for our community, and today I call on that passion. From 19 to 21, I was in the deep throes of drug addiction and alcohol addiction, leaving me homeless, living in a shed behind a church. That horrific cycle was changed when I walked through the doors of a WestCare facility. I would not be a Rotarian or alive if it were not for WestCare. This June will mark 15 years of living a new life, 15 years of being an upstanding member of our community, 15 years clean and sober. And the reason I bring all of this up is because the institution that helped save my life and allowed me the ability to become someone worthy of being called a Rotarian is in need of our help. Why should this matter to you? 45 years ago, WestCare was formed in Las Vegas. Since that time, their mission of uplifting the human spirit has spread to include 19 states, Guam, the Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, and Palau, all while maintaining their international headquarters here in our own backyard, Las Vegas. And that may change without our help. WestCare Nevada currently operates 4 programs in our local community serving members with mental health, substance abuse, shelter, and other behavioral needs. They employ hundreds of members of our community and service approximately 6,000 members of the Southern Nevada community that are in help and need each year. In a brief statement from their CEO, previously WestCare Nevada, Inc. had funding to provide coverage for over 50% of our clientele who did not qualify for any other type of support, filling essential service and wraparound support gaps in our local community. We have been faced with tremendous funding challenges, making it challenging to provide the critical support we have offered in the past. Since the implementation of the Affordable Care Act, Medicaid resources have begun to replace grant funding for indigent care. Even our best efforts with on-site Medicaid enrollment still leave many of our clients without Medicaid coverage. In good faith, we have continued to provide critical services over the years. However, for the past 20 months, many of our government funding partners have failed to fulfill their financial commitments. When WestCare loses the ability to serve our most vulnerable populations, the direct result is the reduction of overall availability of behavioral health crisis care in Las Vegas. Without the availability of WestCare services, clients will use the resources needed to become healthy, functioning, and self-sustaining members of our community. These losses will result in the overcrowding of emergency rooms and increased rates of incarceration and homelessness once more. There is a scarcity of resources available to care for individuals in need, and WestCare cannot carry this burden alone any longer. Julie Kochevar, the administrator of the Nevada Behavioral and Public Health Division, said that the state cannot provide its share of the funding until the hospitals and local governments cut their checks to WestCare. Over the last 20 months, WestCare has served over 18,000 people in Nevada, causing a financial deficit of over $6 million. This trend is not sustainable, and therefore all of the programs in Reno, save for one, shut down last week. We have the ability to stop the same thing from happening here in Las Vegas. If WestCare shuts down, the men at Harris Springs Ranch will not find lasting recovery. The women and children at WestCare's Women and Children's Campus will no longer be able to enter, recover, and grow into a loving family unit, seeing them skip down the halls, and our most vulnerable populations will no longer be able to seek treatment at WestCare's Community Triage Center. Instead, fire, police, EMTs will be forced to return to the days of taking these members of our community to jail or to the ER, further straining our community financially. Each of us can contact our local representatives and request action be taken. As prestigious members of our community, if you know someone who can help or want to be actively involved, please reach out to me and help save the community, because as one of our local judges said, if WestCare closes, we're screwed. WestCare and our community need our help, and as members of the Las Vegas community, it is our responsibility to help prevent hundreds of people from losing their jobs and thousands of people from receiving the care that they so desperately need. As Rotarians, it is our responsibility to help our community when it is beneficial to all concerned. I would not be here today if it were not for WestCare, and many future members of our Las Vegas community may not survive if we don't act now. Please get in touch with me if you're willing to be of service. Thank you.
Thank you, Kirk, for your courage and for bringing this very important matter to our attention. So I urge you all to please reach out to your representatives. It is election season. They want to hear from you, and this is a matter that we need as our social safety net in our community. Now, please enjoy a quick 3 minutes for lunch and fellowship. Welcome back. So Rosalie, we're going to jump into some announcements, and if you can start right there with past President Dave Thorson,
Here you
who
go,
has
Dave.
3 announcements. Do you remember what they are, or? He has notes.
Okay, first of all, the Dan Stover regional round of competition is going to be April 21st. That's next Saturday. A lot of the people in the club are going to be at district assembly, and so I'm looking for at least one volunteer that's not going to district assembly that could go and cheer on our student there at the regional round. It'll only take about an hour and a half. And anybody raise your hand just so I can send you the information. No takers? Marianne, thank you.
And behind you there, Kitty Crockett. Also.
Katie Crockett, Marianne. Okay, I'll send you guys. It's at an Episcopal church over in Henderson, and it's at like 10:30 in the morning. And thank you for doing that. Next item, on June 2nd or 3rd, I think it's the 2nd, we are going to be hosting 33 airmen to go to the Lights professional soccer game on June 2nd. That has been budgeted. We budgeted enough to send 33, and so as it gets closer, I'll be asking if anybody would like to offer any more donations so that we can send more airmen to the actual game. So just think about that. I think it's $15 a ticket, roughly. And then last but by no means least, please make sure that you've marked June 28th on your calendar for our debunking party, where we will be kissing Michael on both cheeks and sending him off into the glorious world of being a past president, so if he can survive the next 3 months. So, and bring swimsuits, Michael, and we'll have a great time on the 28th.
Sure.
Thank you,
Thank
David.
you. Thanks, Dave. Thanks for organizing all that. And then next up is Ted McAdam, who's going to tell us about our tour out at Creech Air Force Base.
Thank you, President Michael. There's an interest in going to learn about the drone operation. If you don't know what that is, drones that are flying and patrolling over Syria, some of them are controlled right here at Creech Air Force Base in Indian Springs. They have a training center up there. They also have the operational wing that does the work downrange. That's the acronym for Syria and Iraq and Afghanistan. We've been invited to come up and receive a briefing and then walk around the drones and learn about Hellfire missiles. And that's all going to happen on the 29th of May. We're going to start a sign-up roster here in the next few weeks. I will need your full name, date of birth, social security number, because we will run a background check on you so you can get access to Creech Air Force Base. That's for everybody who does not have a Department of Defense approved identification card. I hope you're interested in going. It'll be a fascinating trip. Probably start around 8:30 in the morning. You'll be home by 4 in the afternoon. Thank you, President Michael.
Thanks, Ted. Thanks for putting that together. And right behind you.
Thank you.
So the sign-up sheet will be in the Green Book starting soon. Next up is past President Karen Wisenant. I think she also has a couple of announcements.
Actually, I have 3 announcements. As you all know, we had 2 pregnant moms this year, and our second pregnant mom had her baby, and we had a baby pool going on. And ladies, you were nowhere near her delivery date. She was a little over a week late, so we had one person only that selected April, and baby was born April 4th at 4:14 a.m., 21 inches, 8 pounds, baby boy, and his name is Rowan. And our winner for the pool was Melanie. The only one that picked April. She picked April 1st. Welcome to our Indian Cultural Exchange students. For those of you that are planning on attending the dinner tomorrow night, please sign up today before you leave here so we can put your name on the gate code. And last but not least, save the date, May 6th is our fundraiser for the Youth Exchange Program. It's a 9-hole golf putting tournament at Angel Park. And I'll leave it at that. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Karen.
Thank you. So as Karen said, we have the barbecue tomorrow night with the Indian team. So make sure you sign up because we need your name for the gate to enter. Janet Linder, are you here?
Janet is not here.
So do you want to talk about the new member orientation?
Sure. We have about 5 new members, and our orientation is going to be on May 2nd at 6 o'clock, and it will be at Jerry Ingles' house. If Jerry's here, thank you so much for volunteering that. And we look forward to seeing all of you there. We've had some really great orientation meetings, and please come and share in our festivities.
Thank you. And before we go into the next announcement, where's the Green Book? Okay. Yes. If we can keep it going so that everybody can sign up. And then our next announcement is President-elect Jim Cole to talk about our biggest fundraiser coming up this Sunday.
Thank you. President Michael, fellow Rotarians, I'm very proud to talk to you again about our car show. It's going to be on this Sunday. I ordered up some great weather for us. It's going to be in the 80s with a gentle breeze, so it's not going to be windy like it was last year. Please come out and join us. We can start the morning. We're going to have coffee and donuts provided by a really interesting food truck that is also a mobile art museum. If you care for mimosas, we will have a bar there for you. We're going to have a Tex-Mex food truck for lunch. We'll have a DJ. We've got a raffle. Special thank you to Chris Rodenfelds for the grand prize, which is a week on a cabin on a boat in the Caribbean, which I personally am going to be entering just for that. We're going to be live streaming some video. We do need a little bit of help tomorrow. If you could, on Saturday, if you could go to the car show on Eastern and just help us pass out some of the last of the announcement cards that we have. It's always great to get in front of other car shows at the very last moment, because these are the people that really would like to go. So we could use some help with that. If you would reach out to Ryan Hamilton. He runs that car show. He's right here, and be more than happy to walk you through where the car show is located, generally at Eastern and 215. The other thing we could really use a little help with is if you would, again, go to your Facebook account, search for the Las Vegas Rotary Car Show, and share that as an event on your timeline. That will get it in front of a bunch of people. And the better and more effective way to do that is if you go into your Facebook account on your PC or on your tablet, you can open up the event and invite people that you're friends with on Facebook to come, and that's very effective to get people to come to the show. So we greatly appreciate it for any of you who are on Facebook to look up the show and do that. If you have any further questions, feel free to contact me. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And then if you could take the microphone to Kirk Holmes for an announcement about tonight's event.
Wow, Kirk, you're popular today.
Who wants to fellowship and see our cottage? Well, at least there's one. Michael Gordon will be there. I'm trying to bring out my inner Russ Swain. It's not working too well. So you're about to hear from the man, the myth, the legend, the archaeologist, right, in charge of Springs Preserve. Well, he's going to give us a private tour this evening, and after we have a little fun and fellowship at the cafe, of the railroad cottage that during Karen Wisenhunt's year we paid to get moved from Main Street to. No? Well, we got it moved. You're going to hear more about it in just a few minutes. But we're going to have a lot of fun tonight, cocktails, fellowship, as well as a private tour. So please come out tonight at the Springs Preserve.
Thank you. So that was a lot of announcements. So just to recap, I want to make sure that you understand that this is not your grandfather's Rotary Club. Tonight we're drinking wine, or we're seeing a cottage that our club paid for. Tomorrow night we're eating barbecue with an Indian delegation. Saturday morning we're helping at the car show in Eastern. And Sunday we're raising money to help improve reading scores at our local elementary schools. So if that's not doing well in 4 days for a Rotary Club, I don't know what is. So good job. Please come and support as many events as you can. So we do have a $2 million goal that we're trying to raise by June 30th. And we have a little bit of time, just 4 minutes, to raise quickly some money for our foundation. So first of all, if you could take the microphone to past President Katie Crockett. Katie Crockett. Katie, hello.
She's on the spot. Now what did I do?
You were our club's first female president, ever.
I was.
Ever. So please stand, that people can get a... But you're very philanthropic and active in our community. And a little birdie gave me this nice picture of you where you are seen engaging with, it seems like, students, and you are bringing history to life by inspiring the present. So can you tell us more about it? Because it's going to cost you $95.
I haven't got a clue. Seriously, I don't.
You don't know what it is?
No.
Well, it's still going to cost you. And
Well,
you can
I'm happy to support the club.
So you can make up a story. Oh, that thing. Yeah.
Oh, you know what? This was an event at the UNLV library at Special Collections. And I was actually going to talk to you before the meeting because I talked to Peter Michel last week and found out that they have the files from Frank Matrani of all the demotion parties and all the pictures that he took. So I have
At
that.
your ranch where you grew up.
Yes. but I have all the index for all of the pictures that he took all the years he was in Rotary, which I thought were lost in a flood. So
we're happy to hear that those files are not lost. We're happy to hear that you're going to help our club in indexing that, but it's still going to cost you $95.
That's fine.
So thank you for your donation to our foundation.
Thanks, Katie.
And then somebody we didn't properly welcome back, Carolyn Sparks. Where are you? Carolyn Sparks, you were gone for a couple of months or a couple of weeks, but we're happy to see you back. So can we just say, if you want to share where you were, what happened, and where you're off to next?
Okay, my back. No, you don't want to see that. I had back surgery. It comes from wrecking your great big old car and totaling it out. That hurts your back. So I was 4 days in the hospital and 2 weeks and 1 day in rehab. They told me I'd be there 4 weeks. I said, no, I have to get to Rotary next week, so I can't do that. So, I missed that while I was gone, yeah. So anyway, I'm back, and I came today without a cane, so I'm good to go.
Well, we're happy. You're back in good health, and to celebrate that, we're also going to fine you $95. So thank you for your continued support of our foundation. So we're going to do the drawing right now. You see in the wheel what the jackpot is today. It's $14.69 plus whatever today's take is, and the ticket number is 659-4888. 4888. Past President Brock Fraser. Whoa. Yay! Thank you. King of Spades. The pot continues to grow. And then for the $50 in Larry Bucks, the number is 4817. 4817, Jamie Goldsmith. Thank you. And to introduce our speaker, I would like to call to the front past President Karen Wisenon.
Good afternoon. On February 23, 2005, Rotary International celebrated their 100th birthday as one of the oldest service organizations in the world. Coincidentally, in May 2005, the city of Las Vegas also celebrated their centennial year. The history of the club is deeply intertwined with the history of Las Vegas. Thus, an idea was born of selecting a project that would interlink the centennial of Las Vegas with the historical role of the Las Vegas Rotary Club and what they've played through the years in our service in our community. In Las Vegas, between 1904 and 1910, Union Pacific Railroad built 64 cottages for its workers located on 6th Street and Casino Center Street. In 2004, only 7 of those cottages remained. Former members of the Las Vegas Rotary Club had a personal history in those railroad cottages. At one point, Walter Bracken collected rent on behalf of the railroad. In addition, Dr. Jim Jones and J.A. Taberti both lived in one of those cottages. In fact, J.A. Taberti met his wife in the cottage. In 2004, the Las Vegas Rotary Club approved a grant for $30,000 to adopt one of the railroad cottages. J.A. Taberti generously donated $5,000 towards the project, and the project was born. Logistically, moving the nearly 100-year-old cottage proved to be a challenge. The concrete building had to be moved in its entirety to the preserve the building. The move also had to happen on a weekend night, as traffic had to be stopped and the lights had to be moved. With the legalities and logistics of the move, it took over 2 years for the final move of the railroad cottage at a cost of $30,000 per cottage. Our speaker today is Nathan Harper, preserve archaeologist for the Springs Preserve. Nathan served as the lead team member of the restoration of 4 early Las Vegas railroad cottages and the development of Boomtown 1905. Please help me welcome Nathan Harper.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the very kind and generous welcome. I always like coming to speak for Rotarians because when I look at the crowd and when I look at what you do as Rotarians, it's always a true representation of what America is all about. And so thank you very much for having me here today. For those of you that haven't been to the Springs Preserve, I'll give you a quick snapshot. The Springs Preserve is a 180-acre natural and cultural resource here in Las Vegas, 3 miles west of downtown. Now, it's the site of the original springs of Las Vegas. That is, before Lake Mead, before the East Valley Lateral, before water was being moved into Las Vegas Valley from Lake Mead, the main source of water was from these springs, pumped out about 1.5 million gallons of water in a 24-hour period. Then over time, as people had higher demands, they started drilling more wells and pulling water out of their own wells. But this was the birthplace of Las Vegas. We call it, Meadows Mall is right next door to us. Las Vegas means the meadows. These are the meadows, and these are the springs that made Las Vegas what it was. So as part of our mission at the Springs Preserve, we try to celebrate that history and sort of give an eye to where we're going in the future. We're all about sustainability as well as our history. But the railroad cottages have become a very important part of our mission and what we do at the Springs Preserve. Some quick history. Las Vegas was a railroad town. Before it was anything else, it was a railroad town. In about 1902, the San Pedro, Los Angeles, and Salt Lake Railroad purchased a large portion of land from Helen Stewart. That included the Big Springs complex or the Las Vegas Springs. And it was the purchase of those springs that led to the railroad coming through Las Vegas and on out to the California coast. This was the main division point between Salt Lake City and Los Angeles and the Port of San Pedro. And the main reason they were here was because of that water. They had their eye on that water source for their locomotives. William Clark, Senator William Clark, was the driving force. He was the owner of the SPLA and SL. He was a copper baron from Montana, and one of the main goals he had was moving that copper down to the California coast to get it out to the market much quicker. This is a picture of Clark standing on the back of his rail car addressing a crowd during one of his re-election campaigns. And Clark was one of these, you could probably call him a robber baron, if you wanted to use that term. He had copper interests, he had railroad interests, and had himself appointed as senator from Montana. And there's a very famous political cartoon of him walking through the congressional office building, throwing money over transoms to get his appointment. He ended up getting bounced out of the Senate for some of those activities. So this is an early map when Clark County was still Lincoln County. This is the Clark's town site. This is McWilliams' town site, the west side on the other side of the tracks right there. So these railroad cottages, as past President Wisenhunt was able to tell you, these were housing structures built by the railroad for sort of their mid-level workers. There's conductors, shop foremen, those types of people, machinists. And so they originally built 64 of these between about 1909 and 1911. Blocks 23 and 26 of Clark's Las Vegas town site. Today that means 2nd, 3rd, and 4th Street, Garces, Bonneville, and Clark. Now, these 64 cottages, there's not very many left in situ in their original locations. There's one cottage that's directly across from the bus transfer station that is largely unchanged. But for the most part, what's left of those cottages in downtown Las Vegas have been significantly modified, facades put on, remodeled, etc. One of those cottages was saved and moved to the Clark County Heritage Museum out on Boulder Highway. If you haven't had a chance to visit there, it's fantastic. There's a lot of history, architectural history of Las Vegas out there. And once again, in 2005, we moved 4 of those cottages to the Springs Preserve. Now, when you're doing restoration work or rehabilitation work like what we planned with these cottages, it takes a lot of money. It takes a lot of time to raise the money to be able to pay for the significant work that has to be done here. And so we sought out funding from the Southern Nevada Public Land Management Act. If you're doing land swaps in Southern Nevada, you know what SNPLMA is. It provided an enormous boon to the Springs Preserve and the Las Vegas Valley Water District and helped us pay for many projects, including the Railroad Cottage restoration. A Commission for Cultural Affairs grant from the state of Nevada, Las Vegas Rotary, very generously helped us move those. American Public Works Association, Cashman Family Foundation, and the J.A. Taberti family, as previously mentioned. So once again, this is one of these community projects that takes the entire community to help fund that and move these projects forward. Now, the railroad cottages themselves are interesting construction. They are sort of a craftsman-style cement block with a very distinct curved roof line on them. And when you look at some of the features from these cottages that help with sort of keeping the house cool, it was very important during that time. There was no air conditioning, correct? So these were cement block, concrete block, and these weren't just your standard sort of rectangular cinder blocks that you see today. These were actually sort of, if you took that cinder block and sliced it in half. And so they laid these in a bond without reinforcement, and the block wall was much thinner than you might expect. We were very lucky to have the original blueprints had been preserved. These were in the Union Pacific Archives in Council Bluffs in Iowa, and some of these blueprints were actually sent to UNLV Special Collections, and they have a significant amount of these Union Pacific Railroad documents there at the UNLV Special Collections. So some of these other features you had these wide eaves hanging over roof lines that allows for more shade. You had the concrete block, which the idea was if you had an air cell or an air pocket between those blocks, that it was allowed some insulation between those. And some of these other features inside that helped keep it cool, fenced-in porches, wide overhangs, these types of things. So with the blueprints, we were very lucky. We were able to find the call-outs for paint colors, for trim colors, for interior colors, for roofing colors as well. Trim moldings were called out, floor plans, kitchen layouts. They had details for all of the cabinetry as well. Usually if you're doing historic restoration work and you're looking for paint colors, you have to go and you have to take a razor blade and you have to scrape and scrape and scrape and scrape and scrape till you get to that first layer. We were lucky that we were able to confirm on the plans that the colors matched what we found there. So for historic preservationists to have original plans is incredibly helpful. So here are two of the cottages, well, one of the cottages on the move at the Springs Preserve. Once they were moved to our facility, they sat in the back portion as we tried to raise the funds for the restoration of these. And then instead of taking these houses back out on the streets and all the way around, we actually moved them on our site. Now that causes its own set of situations. Whoops. I was trying to show you a time-lapse video of the moving, but it's not going to work. That's okay. So we were able to move these on our site, and rather than having to move power lines and poles and things like that, we had to move trees and shrubs and bushes and animals and those types of things. A little less difficult of a move. If you were interested in seeing some of those time lapses, you can go find them on YouTube. And here they are in place. Technology's grand, right? Here they are in place, and you can see that there were some issues with some of the blocks, some of the wear on the block. We actually went to a local company that actually was able to reproduce blocks from the original blocks that we gave them, from the specifications we had. And the contractor we had for this restoration work was Pace Contracting, a local firm. And these were moved in spring of 2013. Restoration went throughout 2013 and were completed in the winter of 2013. And some of the issues we had to deal with, any of these preservation issues, we want to make sure that, first of all, that the envelope of the building is solid. It's not going to fall down. It's not going to collapse. But then we want to make sure that as much of the original material is taken care of and is not going to degrade over time. Structurally, there were some issues with this. I talked about this sort of double Wyeth block wall. It was not reinforced at all. There was no rebar. There was nothing else in between there. So one of the issues that we found was that a lot of cracking between the blocks. The Portland cement that was used to stick these blocks together was stronger than the blocks themselves. When San Pedro, Los Angeles, and Salt Lake Railroad constructed these cottages, they actually ran a spur rail line up the alleyways of these blocks and had a concrete mixer, all the materials on a flatbed. And the sand and the things they used to construct these blocks were local. They weren't washed. They weren't cleaned. So the integrity of these blocks is degraded over time. In some of these blocks, you actually go up and just rub the surface of it, and it would sand and things like that would come out of it. So that was very important to us. There was no attachments between the roof and the walls and the floor and the walls. So essentially, you're looking at a wall with a roof sitting on top of it and a floor sitting on floor joists not attached to the wall. So that was one of the things we wanted to solve and wanted to fix. We wanted to make sure that this was a solid structural unit. Interior plaster was a bit of a difficulty also. Plaster doesn't tend to last long. This was lath and plaster. It wasn't drywall. It was applied directly to the block in some cases. So there was quite a bit of cracking, some spalling, some degradation of that plaster. One of the other things, we may not necessarily feel it these days, but Las Vegas is an active seismic zone, so there is a threat of earthquakes here. And so we had to go back and we had to do some seismic reinforcement, some retrofits to make sure that that building was going to stick together. Some other things we did to keep it sound, some of those air cells between the blocks, some of those we selected to actually fill with solid concrete to hold it together. We put a plate on the top to hold the roof to the rest of the building, a plate on the bottom to hold the floor to the rest of it. And these things are solid as a rock. If you're looking for a place to hide out from a nuclear blast, these might be a good place for it. As I said, these were greatly modified in place. There were additions to them. There were changes. Some of them had been divided and separated into apartments. And so in one instance, we actually had to remove a door and replace the block in that one location. So here it is, complete. And you can see this is that wall that we were just looking at with the door. We were able to put everything back together, and I'm very excited to show these cottages to you this evening. The different colors, we painted each cottage in one of the called out colors, and the color differences in the roofs as well. So these weren't just concrete blocks that looked like one street of just concrete houses. There was a rhythm to them, there was a feel to them, and it was really, really quite an attractive little neighborhood. And here we are from the end of the road sitting out. We put them on original size lots. And all of the planting and all of the gardens that we put in, we actually went back to the Las Vegas Age, UNLV Special Collections, Clark County Library District Archives to see what people were putting in their yards, see if we can find any example photos of any of that. We're very lucky. The Las Vegas Age, I believe this was about 1912, it was a big Arbor Day celebration that they did in Las Vegas where kids actually went out and sold tags for planting trees. Planted over 2,000 trees in Las Vegas. And you think about what Las Vegas would have been like back then. Very hot, very dusty, no plants, no vegetation. So this was actually a really, really fantastic beautification project in early Las Vegas. They also sent somebody from the town to the Los Angeles Botanical Gardens to bring back plants for the park that was going to be in front of the railroad depot. And so we actually went to that Las Vegas Age article, and all of the plants that we put in our yard were on that plant list. We didn't plant anything else there. So this is our reconstructed cottage neighborhood, and here it is originally. So it was very important for us to get the look and the feel of that cottage, but you know these things are too important to us. So we had to make sure that we put the right furniture in them. We had to focus on the right area. So we were looking at a period between about 1900, 1905 to about 1920. 1922 is when the San Pedro, Los Angeles, and Salt Lake Railroad was taken over by the Union Pacific. And it was about that time also that instead of renting these cottages out to railroad workers, they started selling them off to private residents. So everything you see, and almost everything you see in here was purchased locally. This was very important to us at the Springs Preserve. We're a local organization. It was very important to us that SNPLMA money that was coming from local land sales was going back into local businesses. We tried to keep the money as local here in Las Vegas as possible. So a couple years ago, after the construction, the stabilization project was completed, it was my job to go out and antique every day for about 2 months, one summer. So I've been to almost every antique store or shop you could find here in Clark County. And we were very lucky because just down the street from us, there's the Charleston Antique Mall. Almost everything we got from there. We were very, very lucky. We worked very closely with them, and they were a joy to work with. So here's your front living room. You can see we have some pictures representing sort of the World War I period there. This is our kitchen. And the kitchen cabinets that you see here were all original. They were all located inside the cottages. We removed them. We refinished them and put them back in place. I said that almost everything came locally. And there are 2 exceptions. The stove and the range boiler. It's a small space, but you can actually see on the floor, on the original wood flooring, where this stove was located. The range boiler sits on sort of like a monopod type foot. And so you could see the circle from where that range boiler had been sitting. And so it was very important to find something that was going to fit this space. We weren't able to find anything locally. This stove had to come all the way from Connecticut. So imagine trying to ship that all the way from Connecticut. And the range boiler, it's a fantastic copper range boiler. It came from even farther away, if you can imagine that. It came from Maine. So it was very important to outfit these to represent that time period of Las Vegas. So our bedrooms, there were 3-bedroom and 2-bedroom cottages, and we have both varieties. We have a 4-bedroom cottage, and we have a 4-room cottage, and we have 5-room cottages. The Tiberti cottage, the Rotary cottage, is one of the 5-room ones, and so we had the main sort of master bedroom. We had a children's sewing room and another children's room as well, and so we have the toys, the beds. Try to decorate it as best as we could to represent that time. Now, as I said, these cottages are important. They're important to the history of Las Vegas, the history of how we came to be. But, you know, when you say we made these railroad cottages, we stored these railroad cottages, come out and see them, sometimes that maybe doesn't drive people's imagination as much as you might think. So we decided we needed to build something to complement this railroad cottages and make it into more of an immersive experience. So this railroad period of Las Vegas, this early period before Hoover Dam, when Las Vegas was a railroad town, is not terribly well represented. If you go out to the Clark County Heritage Museum, they have some fantastic displays. They have some train depots, some other things. But there's really no unified place where you can go and think about what Las Vegas was like in the early 1900s. And so, once again, working with some exhibit designers and some architects, we came up with a concept to build what we call Boomtown. And, you know, everybody always likes to talk about how Las Vegas is a place that likes to implode its history. All right? That's not necessarily true. We have a lot of history left, but some of these early important buildings that were very iconic to early Las Vegas don't exist anymore. So we planned out a roster of buildings that included the original San Pedro, Los Angeles, and Salt Lake Railroad Depot. The First State Bank was very important to us just because of its very distinct construction in 1910. It was a Greek Revival columned, pedimented building built in this little desert town. But we also have a replica of the Arizona Club, like I like to call it a non-specific general store, and we have a reconstruction of the Lincoln Victory Hotel that still stands down on Main and Bridger. We worked very closely with Carpenter Celos Delgado architects, and they were absolutely fantastic. They were a joy to work with. They were very responsive, and really did a bang-up job. So, sort of our approach to working on these buildings was to go into the archives, go into special collections, and see what we could find as far as images, any writings about them, you know, a lot of personal papers. Pop Squire's, Walter Bracken's personal papers are in the UNLV special collection, so we were able to go through those. And luckily, once again, we were able to find the original plans for the railroad depot. So as an architect, it was pretty easy. He didn't trace over the lines or anything like that, but he did a fantastic job scaling this depot to fit our space here. And very excited to show this all to you this evening. Don't want to push it too much. There we go. And so that's a view of Boomtown today. And really I invite you to come out and visit us this evening and come for a walk and see some of these spaces and visit the railroad cottages there. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have for me.
Yes, sir. Can you explain to me what a range boiler is?
So a range boiler is like your water heater. Your water heater today it's out in your garage. It's got its own gas setup. It's separated from the rest of the house. Your range boiler would have been attached to your stove, and as your pilot light is going, as you're heating your dinner, cooking your food, it heats that water and keeps it in the range boiler. So that was your hot water heater. So like I said, there's a 4-room cottage and a 5-room cottage. The 4-room cottage is around 760 square feet, and the 5-room cottage is a little over 900 square feet. You know, when they're redone and restored the way they are, you can walk into these spaces and you can see yourself living in one of those. I often joke, you know, when me and my wife were first married, living in our own apartment, about 750 square feet, I used to joke with her and say, you know, I only have to go around one corner in this place to find you. And it would have been similar to this, but it's nice when you can go around 2 corners before you have to find somebody. But they're very comfortable, they're very cute, and honestly, if there was a way we could rent these out for the night and let people stay there, I would spend the night in one of these. They're very nice. And then your other question, how did the employees get? Like I said, these are about mid-level employees' houses. So engineers, foremen, shop foremen, machinists, and they built them specifically for families as well. So they were looking to bring families and have people come to Las Vegas to start a life. The railroad shops that were the main division point between Salt Lake City and Los Angeles employed upwards of 400 people. So Las Vegas was a railroad town. The railroad was the main employer and the main house builder at that time as well.
Nathan, thanks for coming out and talk to us. Thanks for having us tonight. I'm really looking forward to it. Looks like a lot of great history to be learned. We're obviously proud of our role in saving one of those cottages, and I can't wait to see that one tonight. Does that have any markings on it from our club or anything like that? Or
we have recognition. We actually, in advance of tonight's tour, we actually took it down to redo it. It's not back up yet. I'm sorry for that, but we are working on it, and once I have that, I'll take a very nice picture and forward it on to Michael so he can show all of you.
It is very similar to Tom's question. Last Thursday, we went to visit the Boomtown and the special houses. We were looking for Rotary sign, and we didn't see one. Yeah. So we were wondering what happened. Yeah. And Tom asked the same question. I'm just reinforcing. I was looking for one.
Your club's role in the movement of these cottages was integral. We would not have been able to do it without the help of the Las Vegas Rotary Club. So we very much appreciate it.
Did you have to move any Indians away from the property that were living here?
At the Springs Preserve? No. Our prehistoric Native American component there at the Springs Preserve dates back about 1,200 years. We do have some early settlers' houses, and those date to about the late 1800s, 1870s, 1880s. And then, of course, we have the water procurement facilities there, the springs, the spring houses, the wells. All of those date to the 1920s, 1940s.
Thank you, Nathan. I just have a general comment. When this club started this project, there was nobody else interested in preserving these cottages. And through the Las Vegas Rotary Club, a committee was formed with the mayor, the Historical Society, and a bunch of other organizations. So if not for Rotary adopting that first cottage, they wouldn't be there. So thank you, members, for your contribution.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, if you haven't been to the Springs Preserve, if you haven't been to Divine Cafe or Happy Hour up there, it is absolutely fantastic. I've done work in archaeology in the Mediterranean. I lived in Athens for a few years. There's very few places in the world where you can go and view the entire scope of history of one place. And the Springs Preserve is one of those places where you can do that, where you can sit there, you can have a drink, you can look out off our veranda there, you can see a 12,000-year-old spring mound, you can see Native American sites and early water procurement sites from 1920s and 1940s, and then you can look past that and you can see the strip in the background. So we're very lucky to have such a resource here, and we welcome you tonight, and we're very excited for you.
So Nathan, thank you. I think we started talking about you coming to speak to our club about a year ago, and it's been a long time coming, so thank you. And we would like to present you with our Share What You Can Award, where we will present a hot meal to a homeless vet in your name. And we will see you again in a couple of hours. Thank you. Okay. Sorry. Thank you. Like I always say, and say it with me, Rotary is like tennis. The one who serves best usually wins. Now go forth and make a difference.